Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tuscany, and today I wanted to talk about vintage hairstyles and how to do vintage curls. So grab some foam rollers and let's get into it. So this style of vintage curl is actually quite simple. It does take some prep work and it does take sleeping in some uncomfortable things, but overall, I think it takes less time than curling your hair with a hot iron, and I like the look of it a bit more. Obviously, I still use a curling iron from time to time. However, I just have so much hair that for me it's faster and easier to just put it up in rollers and have that do it overnight and then just brush it out in the morning. But you can do it however. I know there are some great tutorials out there for doing vintage hair with hot iron or curling iron, whatever you wish to call it. But today I'm going to show you how to do vintage curls with foam rollers. Now I know there are a ridiculous amount of other videos in the vintage world to show you how to do vintage hair, but since I am a vintage channel, I figured that it would be good for me to do one anyways. So right off the bat, I want to talk about foam rollers real quick. That is what I use. I think they are the easiest and the most comfortable. However, everyone is different and everyone has different style or type of hair, so just be aware of that when thinking about purchasing foam rollers. And if you have used foam rollers before and it hasn't worked, then there are a couple things you need to consider. You need to consider what kind of hair you have, how much you were putting in the foam roller, if you were doing a dry set or a wet set, and what kind of product you were using. It does take some trial and error, so you have to be patient. So let's take a trip back in time and I'll show you how I got these curls. So it's around 9 p.m. I'll be going to bed in probably a few more hours, but if I wait too long to do my hair, then I won't do it. So I'm gonna just get it done. So a few things I'm gonna need for doing my hair is a brush, a small comb, my foam rollers, and some sort of styling foam. I was using hairspray for quite some time where I would slightly make my hair slightly damp and then brush out a piece that I was going to put into a foam roller, and then spray it real quick with hairspray, and before it's set, roll it up. And it worked all right because the dampness of my hair would keep the hairspray from setting too fast, and then it would set in the roller, but I didn't really like it and I wanted to try something new. So I'm gonna try some styling foam. This is the Thick Trick by Cake. I have not tried it before. It's brand new to me. I will let you guys know in a few weeks how I actually feel about it. This is definitely not me promoting anything. It's just the one that I'm using right now, and we'll see how it goes. So I have already slightly dampened. I've made my hair slightly damp and I just do that with a little squirt bottle, and I think it just helps it set a little better. So now that that is slightly damp, I'm going to just go ahead and brush it out, make it easier to brush it out in the morning. Alright, now that I look sufficiently like Hermione in the first movie, not the other movies, I'm going to go ahead and start sectioning my hair out to put in rollers. Also, just be aware that I just took my red lipstick off, so that's why I look like a child that attempted to put on red lipstick and failed miserably. Here's my comb. I'm going to get my comb that's full of hair, and I'm going to get my foam rollers ready. I like to use the large ones in the pack. There's a few different sizes, but I think the large ones work the best. However, I have quite a bit of hair, so I use all of the large ones and a few of the large medium ones. Now I work kind of in sections, so I go top and then kind of middle and then bottom, and I feel like that's just the easiest way to work with it, but it's kind of just about getting a feel for your hair and how you work, so feel free to try a different way of moving around your head. I'm gonna start off with my bangs because they are the most difficult part for me personally. Get a little bit of styling foam. Brush it through. And then get a foam roller in. And these are pretty easy. You just get it on there. Wrap the ends up and around. That's probably the hardest part, is getting the ends nicely tucked in. And then roll it up. And snap it closed. Ta-da! Now I'm gonna go ahead and grab the next section. You wanna make sure it's not too big because larger section, if you have longer hair, is going to mean that it's just going to keep getting bigger and you won't be able to close the roller. Just wanna roll it right up to the scalp. Ta-da! I will say that if you have layered hair, that's going to be much more complicated to get it up in rollers. It's still definitely possible, but you're gonna have to work a bit harder to maintain all the ends and make sure that they get in the roller nicely. Alright, I got the top done and now I'm moving on to my second row of rollers. So as you can see, I've already run out of orange curlers and now I'm moving on to the green, which is just a size smaller. And that's okay. I'm gonna brush it out tomorrow, so they're all gonna look pretty cohesive. And when you're doing this, just remember that using different size rollers is going to be better than trying to shove all your hair into fewer amount of rollers, because they're not gonna set well if you have too much hair in a roller. This foam smells a little like Dr. Pepper. Alright, I am down to my last bit of hair. Just go ahead and put in probably 2 more rollers and I'll be done. So now that I look like Aunt Petunia and I've got hair all over my lap, I'm gonna go wash my hands, take care of that, and go do some sewing, and then go to bed. So I will sleep in these. I'll take them out in the morning. They are not the most comfortable things to sleep in. You can use a headscarf if you'd like, if you think that would help. I personally think that headscarves are a bit more confining and uncomfortable. But if you feel a need to try out a headscarf, then go ahead, definitely try it. You might like it, you might not. So this is what it looks like. I know it's not the sexiest thing, but it is what it is. So I will catch up with you guys in the morning, and I'll show you how I brush out my curls and how I style it on a daily basis. Well, daily being when I feel I want to do this. And I'll catch up with you in the morning. Alright, good morning. It is 9 a.m. I just woke up and I'm gonna make some coffee. One should always do coffee before one does thy hair, says me. Okay. So I guess it's time to take these out. It's been a good 12 hours or more. So if you did a wet set or you spritzed your hair before setting it, then definitely double check to make sure that everything is dry. If you feel like it could be slightly damp, then go ahead and blow dry it for a couple minutes. And the best thing when it comes to blow drying is to also let it cool. So make sure that before you take it out, if you do blow dry it, then make sure that your hair is cool to the touch when undoing your rollers. All right. Double check to make sure that they're all out. Maybe take the time to sing a Shirley Temple song. And now we can brush it out. Brushing it out isn't too difficult. It's just brushing your hair. It might be a little bit more painful because of the product in it. Just be aware of that. And go at it. The more you brush, the more shaped it's going to look. However, the more you brush, the faster your curls are going to fall out. And this is about it for me. I kind of like the more wild curls. I mean, they're definitely a little sculpted because of how much I brush it, but I don't like going to like the really 1950s kind of like sculpted look. So I'll go add some makeup and some clothes, and I'll catch up with you in a few minutes. So next, clothes. So here we are, back at the beginning. What is this magic? It's movie magic. So there you have my tutorial on how to do vintage curls. I've gotten pretty used to it. and I've been doing this for about 8 to 9 months, so I've gotten a feel for my hair and how many rollers need to go in and all that jazz. So just don't be intimidated when trying it out. Don't try it for the first time, fail, and think that you can't do it. It is a learning process, and you need to give it a go a few times just to get the hang of how many you need to put in, where the placement should be, what product you should be using, and so on and so forth. I do think vintage hair is important to kind of like enhance that vintage aesthetic. And I honestly think it's really not that difficult of a process. Once you get the hang of it, it takes 15 minutes in the evening and maybe 10 minutes in the morning. And it really just gives you that look that you're going for, I'm guessing, if you're watching this video. And the nice thing about having the curls in already is that it will help you to achieve some other vintage hairstyles. So at this point, once you get your curls in, you can then do some victory rolls, you can do some pin curls, you can add a beret or a 40s style hat or anything like that, and those are great for second day or third day hair, depending on how often you wash your hair. And you'll already have a base of curls in place, and then you can just enhance it with some other aspects of vintage hairstyle. I just really like how bouncy it is. So I hope this video helped you to get a little bit of a grasp on how to do vintage curls. I do think that the most important step is just giving it a go and practice. It's not going to be perfect the first time or the 50th time. It is what it is. I mean, the people, like the women who did this back in the day they did it for years, and they did it every day because it was expected of them. So they had plenty of practice and I'm sure that it didn't turn out perfect for them either every single time. So don't be intimidated by it, just give it a go, get some practice in, and I'm sure it'll turn out great. So go ahead and leave any questions or comments in the comments section below, like this video, or even subscribe. Have a great week, and I'll see y'all next time.